everyone, welcome to our Ant Team live training. We are back again post Thanksgiving. We're all probably a couple of pounds heavier, but I'm so glad that we have a chance to gather here every week and talk about our wins for the week, share some ideas, and just chat and build and connect and be in community with each other every once in a while. So it's always good to connect, always good to see you guys, and especially good for me at least to hear you guys' wins for the week. I know you guys enjoy it too. I see the conversations happening in the chat box. So you guys know the drill. Every single week we gather here, and the first thing that we start off with is our wins for the week. So let's get started in the chat box below. Why don't you go ahead and start typing in the things that you're celebrating that you've accomplished in your business or in your life between last week and this week. No dream, no goal, no action step too small. They're all worth celebrating. We talk about that all the time here, and that's why we gather, so that we can celebrate these things and we could share in each other's success, because when one of us wins, all of us win. So continuing off of last week we had our discussion where we were talking about being crazy thankful in preparation for Thanksgiving, and remember, I put out a challenge to you guys, and I gave myself a challenge as well, so that we can go through the week between last week and this week, taking the opportunity to be crazy thankful for the things that we normally aren't thankful for. So if you didn't get a chance to catch last week's training, the video is up on YouTube, but we shared some of the things that we're usually not grateful for, like challenges and things that we usually just look at in a negative light. But we talked about ways to put a positive spin on it and look at it in a more positive way, and to find the things in the negativity that we can celebrate, and the reasons why we should celebrate these things. So the challenge was to go through your week and challenge yourself to celebrate those things that you normally just aren't thankful for. So I hope you guys did it. I might have showed you, I have on my wall over here a little post-it that I made. I made it that night as a reminder to come back and tell you guys this week, to remind you to share how and what you were thankful for, but also to for myself, so that I can see it every day and just remember. And I gotta be honest with you, there were times in the week, just that short 7-day period, where I forgot and I was just like angry or ticked off at something in the grand scheme of things, that was in the grand scheme of things like small and insignificant. But just seeing that post-it, I was like, okay, find the positive in this and be thankful for it. And I gotta be honest, there was a moment after Thanksgiving, I was headed out, and something tiny, I don't even remember what it was now, but something tiny was bothering me, and I was aggravated and frustrated about something. And I actually met up with another person, and they were sharing some of the things that they have been going through over the last few months and even years. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, you have to put your focus on something else. You have to put things in perspective. You have to put your eyes on something above where you are, because right now you're getting upset over something stupid, and here is a person who is really going through it, that is a like would be the ultimate example of struggle, and the struggle being real. And this person was just sharing their stories with me, and I was trying to be comforting and understanding, but I was just like, to be honest with you, you have no idea what that is about, and the little things that you're frustrated about, you really should be thankful for. So when you don't remind yourself, sometimes outside forces will, and just help put things back into place. But that helped get me back on track. I think it was like Thursday, it was towards the end of the week, and I was just like, you know what, you need to be thankful for some more things, because you're bugging, George. So I was actually thankful for that moment, thankful to have been there for that person, maybe to even let them vent a little bit, and just be there for them, to have that other person to listen to, who could show caring for them, but also for myself, selfishly, of course, because it was just a moment where it was just like, all these things that you worry about and stress about, and that occupy such a large portion of your mental mental energy, your physical energy, the stuff that just thinking about, that drains you and keeps you up at night. are things that this person doesn't have or that this person lost. So it just really put things in perspective for me. Um, that wasn't my win, but that was my rehashing of this being crazy thankful. So I want to hear what you guys felt about this. Was it easy for you? Was it hard for you? The first few days I was like, yeah, I'm going to keep reminding myself, and I was good. But as we reached the end of the week, stuff just started to, you started to remember stuff, because before Thanksgiving you're just kind of like, okay, I have things to do. I gotta bake. I gotta remember to pick up certain items at the store. You're communicating with family, and you're just so excited to be off from work and home and having vacation time. But then once that was gone, then it's like, okay, back to work now. What are the things that are bothering me? Like the switch just goes back on, like, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, this is not working out, this is not where it's supposed to be, you're not where you need to be in this, and like it all just started and I lost my focus. So it happens to all of us. So, but it's just important to get back on track. So I'm just curious to hear how you guys did with your challenge this week. If you took it up, if you kept it, if you remembered it, or even if you forgot, share, let me know. Add that in with your wins for the week. So let's see who we have on the chat today. Tonight we have Miss Kathleen. Hello and welcome, girl. I saw a post from you earlier. I have to check it out. Miss Angela, hey, how are you? Thank you for joining. Jessica Z and Miss Janet, I see you. Miss Pam Rigor from Texas. Girl, can you just send up some of that Texas weather in our direction? Just a few degrees, 15 to 20. Thanks for joining, Miss Pam. Miss Janet says she's thankful God has blessed her with another year to make things better in life. It has had its challenges. Yeah, I hear that. Just to be able to say that you're thankful and you're feeling blessed for the things that we do have, despite the challenges, is so important and so encouraging. So thanks for sharing, Miss Janet. So come on, guys, let's see your wins for the week. Don't be shy. We're all friendly, and we have to create a code. Like if it's something that you don't want me to read out loud, just put like shh in front. I'll skim it, but I won't read it. I don't know. If you guys are shy, share in the chat box anyway. We're all family here. So my win for the week. How do I say this without throwing myself under the bus? I haven't been working the way that I like to. I've been slacking off. According to me, according to the way I work, I feel like I've been slacking off. Other people will say, no, I still see you running around like a rabbit without, or chicken without a head. But there are things that I needed to do that I didn't get done. And that's also sort of what we'll be talking about in tonight's chat. But I was able this past week, I don't know if it was because I was transitioning out of just full-blown work mode and into sort of a rest mode, or because I just had that extra time to be at home to get the things that I kind of had becoming a backlog done. But hey Anitra, so I was able to get back on schedule with a lot of the things that I like to do in the way that I like to do them. There were, of course, still things that I didn't get to do, but one of the things that I was excited about having gotten done was I got back to my beauty power hours. This looks different for me all the time. So you guys might remember a couple of months ago, earlier in the year, I had dedicated an hour. I planned an hour in the middle of my day that I would dedicate to building my business, and I've done this in different ways. Sometimes it's in giving out sample packs. I might set a goal for myself to give out 20 sample packs during my lunch break. I've done it as setting up a table during lunch and talking to people who are passing by while I'm on my break. And I've done the power hour where I would give half an hour in the morning, half an hour at lunch, or half an hour in the morning and half an hour in the evening. But they're basically just times where I, just go into crunch mode, where I set a goal for myself and I have an hour to complete it. So whatever the goal is, it's different. It changes throughout the year, but I call it my power hour because it's my time to just buckle down and not be shifting between a bunch of different things, but to just focus on getting one task or one goal completed. And I've also done in the past for actually the one that I usually do is to do my phone calls, following up with my leads, my customers, and my team during that either during lunch hour or during an hour after work, where I just take my phone book or now it's my phone, not a physical phone book, but taking my contact list, because you don't have phone books anymore, but taking my contact list, setting how many names I need to call and just going through and knocking them all out. So last week I was able to get back in the swing of that, and I was able to do my power hour and really just get a lot of contacts out there. So I was able to reach out to a lot of representatives, a lot of leads, a lot of old customers, a lot of old team members, a lot of old leads. And I was excited about that because, it's something you have to do. We're a customer service business. We do need to have that contact and have that interaction with people. And I was just kind of excited. It just felt like a win to me to be able to get back on the horse and go back to my really focused time periods. Some of you might know, I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but this month was kind of hard for me because I kept getting sick. And I kept getting sick because I wasn't taking care of myself. Still working on it. That's a call, that's a chat for another time. But I wasn't taking care of myself. And my body had run down. My energy has been running down this year. For the last few years, I've been feeling like I've been having to struggle with trying to keep my energy up and trying to keep my focus. And it just felt good this week to just get back to how I used to work. I hope I keep the momentum going. Yesterday was a problem day. Today I was working on it again. And, I'm just trying to find myself in the groove, in the groove that I used to be in, where I would just get in and plow through. So that's my win. That's what I'm celebrating. Also have some new team leaders on our team, so I'm excited about that. I'll see if they come on during the chat. I'll try not to blow up their spot. They should be celebrating their successes this week. So if you're on and you are one of our brand new team leaders, we had 3 over the last month, so I'm excited about that. Excited to see the company, our business growing, our team growing. Excited to see men and women who are excited about empowering other people and who are picking up the torch to not just be someone who's here, just, like I'm here for the sake of me, but to say, I'm here, I like this, I'm enjoying myself, I'm seeing where this business can take me and my family, and I want to empower other people to do that too. That is, that's always great for me to see, like, someone say, I'm going to empower someone else. And even if I'm brand new and I'm not really sure about how to train someone or how to do classes or, all of that stuff, it doesn't matter. We'll teach you that stuff. But for them to say, I have a friend who could benefit from this. Let's do this together is, just always great to see. So shout out to those ladies. Don't know if you're on. I haven't seen any of your names come up yet. I know some of you guys watch on my YouTube channel after. So shout out to all of you guys. You know who you are. Miss Pam, she says it's 77 degrees in Texas today. Can I just have one of those sevens that's not preceded by a 3 or 4? We've been having yes, it's winter. And we've had a pretty mild winter. I really shouldn't be complaining because technically I haven't even taken out my winter clothes yet. I'm still wearing like regular clothes and adding vests and sweaters for layering. But we've had it pretty good, and I'm still like, I'm cold. But yeah, Miss Pam, just send up 7 degrees, 10 degrees. I'm not greedy. So you guys get going with your chat. I am going to dive into our live stream before my voice goes. I've been battling just having a cold. It goes and then it comes back for the weekend. Or I feel it fighting to come back for the weekend. It's like this cold is fighting and clawing at my life. But so tonight's topic we have is 1 month to go. We are at the end of November. We've got less than a week actually in November, just a few more days, and then we are in December. December is the last month of 2017. We are at we can see the finish line. We are almost there. And I wanted to talk to you guys about this because this Sunday, the discussion topic was, how do you finish? finishing strong, and how many people start the race but don't finish. And I was thinking about this, and it struck me because the things that struck me the most are in the discussion was that the number of people who start who don't finish. And I thought to myself, how many people get started in this business and don't last a month, don't last 6 months, don't, complete it for the year. And I tried to think, what could happen and what could cause that and what is going through their mind. And I thought about people who have been doing this for years. And then all of a sudden, this became the year where they fell off and just never got back in the race. I thought about distractions and obstacles and how we manage them and how we let them take us down. But some of the things that were shared that we were talking about on Sunday was the people who are our role models. How the people that we look up to are not the people who quit the race. Those are the people whose names we forgot. We don't remember the people who came in 52nd and 53rd, but remember the people who won the race. The first three are the ones who get to stand on the podium. But there are the people that maybe have grand finishes, who maybe would have been pegged to not finish, who did anyway, and because you followed along with that struggle of watching them, and their determination to finish, even if they finish last, that became the motivating story and the things that we cling to because they're empowering to us. But I thought it's so easy for us to watch other people. Mets and the Yankees. uh, Baseball season didn't bring home a championship. We got to the playoffs, but we didn't bring home the big win. And at the end, you're kind of just like, all right, well, we'll wait for next year. Or, okay, but you don't really feel like, yay, well, we still won X amount of games. It's like, we didn't win. We didn't finish. So these are some of the things that we were talking about this past Sunday, and I wanted to share with you guys this theme of how important it is to finish the race. Now, I don't know where you are watching this. I don't know where you are in your business. I don't know. I mean, hopefully if you're watching, your account is still active. But maybe someone will send you this video. I'm probably going to have to text or tweet this out to a couple of people that I could think of. But regardless of where you are, I kind of want to bring you through three things, 3 steps, 3 ideas to kind of get you thinking and analyzing, because that's what I do, and that's how I handle things that are making my mental wheel spin, and that's how I tend to find answers and ideas for stuff. So I kind of want to take you through my thought process that I've gone through these last few days, the things that I've been thinking about when it comes to finishing strong and actually just finishing. So here we are, the 11th month. We're almost into the 12th month. This is actually a really great time for us to review. And I was kind of thinking about it. Normally, I tend to have this discussion in January. The year is over. We're starting fresh with new goals. We're doing our our diets. We're doing our what do they call it when our New Year's resolutions? Usually at the beginning of the year, we tend to do all of those things. But I was actually thinking now is an even better time to do that for a few reasons. When the new year starts, we kind of subconsciously just kind of wipe the slate clean. Just like I said with the baseball and the Yankees and the lack of a trophy. But we say, okay, new year, we start fresh, we wipe the slate clean, and oftentimes we don't really analyze the last year. And we might look at it and say, okay, well, we didn't finish our goals, or we didn't reach our goals. This year we're going to do it. And then the year goes by, December comes around, January comes around, and we're like, okay, well, we didn't do it last year, but this year we're going to do it. And I find sometimes we just get in the habit of, that do-over mentality, where it's like, okay, well, we didn't make it, or we didn't get as far as we wanted to, or, whatever dream or goal that we had set for ourselves didn't come into fruition. So we're just going to wipe the slate clean and start again. But we don't really take the time to analyze where we were, what we went through, and what we could have done differently, because we just have that do-over button where we just wipe it and start again. But right now, at this moment, we're still in the year. We still have, it's like a pivotal moment where we're on the cusp of something new, but we're still in the race. You're like, again, almost at the finish line, almost getting ready to cross over into the new year, but you haven't crossed over into new year yet. You can still enact change this year to affect the outcome of this year. You can't just say, okay, do over yet. Although I know some of us are doing that, but you're still in a position to change this year. So I want to encourage you guys to do a couple of things. So if you're a note taker, take notes. You guys know me and my outlines, my bullet points. All of this is numbered. So the first thing that I would like for you to guys to do is go back to the goals that you had set earlier in the year. Go back to January if you kept a journal or a diary, or if you were texting your friends, or if you didn't write it down, because we talk about writing down our goals all the time. But hopefully you wrote it down. But if you didn't, try and think back to what it was. If you have a friend who is an accountability partner for you, like for me, it's usually family. Family is real quick to call you out on the goals that you set and then accomplish, or a best friend or a mentor, whoever it was that you might have spoken to. Reach out to them and just say, by the way, what do you remember? Is there anything that you remember me setting as a New Year's resolution or as a goal that maybe I haven't accomplished or that I haven't been working on? Trust me, they will be more than happy to list it out for you. Just make sure your skin is thick, because you may not be prepared for the barrage of stuff that they're ready to throw at you. But that's why it's sometimes better to write it down, because it's easier to be your own accountability partner every once in a while, especially in moments like these. So go back to your goals, see what the goals were that you had set earlier in this year, and really analyze what your progress has been. You guys know that I like to keep a journal. I'll be honest with you, I had started off really strong with my journal, but then I kind of just petered out during the year. But I was able to go back to when I was still keeping my journal and see what my goals were, how they changed over the year, over the months, what I had accomplished, what I didn't accomplish. And sometimes if you had accomplished some of the goals, there were some things in there that I was proud of, to say, okay, I did that and I completely forgot because I was so quick to move on to the next goal, which is why it's important to write your goal down. But there were some things in there I was like, oh shoot, I forgot that I wanted to do that. So go back to your goals, see what they were. If you kept a progress report or progress record throughout the year, see how they changed, and see what your progress has been. The next thing is to look at your goals. Were they strong goals or were they weak goals? When you guys know, we always talk about setting SMART goals. So what were the goals that you set? Were they SMART goals, or were they kind of like up in the air, pie in the sky? This is something that I kind of sort of would like to do if I had, you know, all things perfect in my life. Usually those are the goals that we tend to set, and come January, I know a lot of us are going to be setting those goals again. So again, we're at that point now where we can nip that cycle in the bud and, start to do some analysis and see what we have. So once you look at those goals and you start to analyze, were they strong or weak goals? For those of you, maybe if you haven't done this chat with us before, again, go back to my YouTube channel. I do have all the videos there. But for an idea of strong versus weak goals. Was it a SMART goal? SMART, the acronym. We talk about that all the time. Was it a SMART goal? Was it a goal that really got you fired up and excited? Or was it a goal that you put down because you felt like you needed to have a goal, because all of your friends were putting down goals and you wanted to do something? Was it a goal that was something that you kind of sort of wanted to do, but if you didn't do it, it didn't really matter? Those are the things that affect the outcomes of our goals, because if it's something that fires you up, that you're really passionate about, that you're really determined to do, it's more likely that it'll be something that you stick with. And if it wasn't a SMART goal, if it was a floating goal, a weak goal, then of course you probably have already forgotten it. You probably forgot that you said it, or it's probably gone back to being one of those things that you, yeah, I want to do that. one of these days when I'm retired, when the kids are out of the house, when, all things again are perfect. So be honest with yourself. Some of these goals you're going to look at and you're going to say, yeah, this is something that I really wanted to do. This is something that I am passionate about, that I do get fired up about, but it's not really something that I've been actively working towards. Even though it's something that I really want to do, it's still sort of been a pie in the sky sort of thing for me. And it's going to be a tough moment if you do it the right way. To be honest with you, all of the things that we're going to talk through today are going to be a lot of tough moments. But again, this point is so crucial. You kind of have to be tough with yourself, or you're going to find yourself slipping back into, I can get back to that, or I could do that. I'll wipe the slate clean and start again next year. So think about, thirdly, how badly did you want it? How real were you with yourself about how serious you were about wanting this goal? Again, was it a smart goal? Did you really set a goal with like a time, a deadline, a way that you could measure it? Or was it something like, I would like to travel the world? By when? Where would I want to go? With whom? Were the details worked out, or was it kind of like, yeah, I just want to do that? And that kind of brings us into our second step. So, as I mentioned, this point being such a crucial, pivotal point, now that you've examined your goals, or, when you do get a chance to, because right now, I know you're listening to me, but when you get a chance to examine your goals, you're going to be able to make a decision in this moment, today. Don't even put it off for the week. Try to do it today, but you're going to be able to make that decision on what to do or not to do with this remaining month. So here's where we get to that critical point, because depending on your goal and how you view your goal and how strong of a goal it was, it is going to affect the steps that you take over the next couple of weeks, the next few days, this remaining month. Because if it's a strong goal, you're going to say, okay, you know what? I really wanted to do this and I didn't do it. I'm going to get my butt back on the course and I'm going to get this thing done. And if it's a weak goal, you're probably going to just say, yeah, what you've always been saying, whatever it is, whatever excuse you've been giving yourself. And again, this is real talk. This is for me, myself too. I can see a lot of the times I'll be, fooling myself, talking to myself out of one side of my mouth, and on the other side, I'm like, you're such a BSer. You have those moments. If you're really honest with yourself, you can have those moments with yourself where you can just be real, like really real. And this is going to be one of those moments where you just need to be really real with yourself. Take off all the facades, take off all the things that you tell yourself, and just really look at the core of your goals, who you are, and who you want to be. This is that, like, okay, interaction with your soul and your spirit where they all come to meet up in one place, and it's epic kind of moment if you do it the right way. If you're really serious, and if you really look and examine your goals, and if you're real with yourself and you're intentional about taking these action steps, this can be a pivotal moment. But if you take it and you're like, yeah, I still want to learn to play the piano, I'm going to learn to play it one of these days, then you're just going to end up being back in the same predicament. And when I did this this list with myself, I actually found quite a few things where I was like, you know what, you say you want to do this, but you're really not going to. So stop wasting time telling yourself you're going to do it, and do something that you're passionate about, that you can get done, that can further you, that you're going to enjoy doing, and that you're actually going to do. Because the wishy-washy back and forth stuff, think about it. Have you ever tried to put the car in drive and then put it in reverse, and then put it in drive, and then put it in reverse, and put it in drive, and put it in reverse? You could do that for an hour. 2 seconds in drive, 2 seconds in reverse. At the end of the day, or at the end of the hour, you're not going to go anywhere. But the sad thing is, this is what we're doing with our lives. We're like, yeah, I'm gung-ho. I want to set this goal. I want to do this. I want to get ahead. I want to go forward. I want to reach this. I want to be this. I want to do that. I want to go there. But I'm going to do it tomorrow. But I'm going to wait until everything's perfect. But I'm going to wait till someone can come with me. But I am afraid. I don't know if I can do that. But I really want to. So you're kind of just like, we're spending our time just going back and forth and just not getting anywhere. So we have to take this moment to make a decision in this remaining month. So first, ask yourself, how badly do you want those goals? Now that you've examined them, you've seen what you want, you've seen what you've set for yourself, and you've kind of, separated the real goals from the BS goals. And then sort of be conscious of the fact that this is the time of the year where it's easy for us to say, well, the holidays are so jam-packed and there's so much going on, and my family is doing a lot and my job is doing a lot. We're closing the books, we're having events, we're going places, we're eating places, we're cooking, we're decorating, we're traveling. This is as crucial and as critical as this point in the year is. This is also the easiest time to get distracted. So I just kind of want to give you a heads up ahead of time, because you're going to be planning. I don't know if you're a writer, if you plan on paper, if you plan in your mind, whatever it is, you're either going to be thinking it or writing it down, but you'll be plotting this out. And there are going to be things where you're like, yeah, I do want to do this, but I have that, I don't know, party at my job that I need to plan for. Okay, I'll do it the week after. But I have that thing that my cousins, sisters, aunts, nephews, teacher is having that I really need to go to. These are the things that are going to happen. So be conscious of that as you're doing this, and just kind of catch yourself doing them so that you don't use them as an excuse, because the truth of the matter is there are always going to be distractions. And again, preaching to the choir here, but there's always going to be something to distract you. There's always going to be something that you have to do. There's always going to be an event, a thing, a function that somebody else is having that you need to go to, regardless of where you are. Whether it's January or December, those things are always going to come up. If you have your goal and you're set on it and you're determined to do it, you got to decide on what action steps you can take to get you to that goal, and what are things on the periphery. What are the things that are distractions? What are the things that you're using as excuses? And then thirdly, you're going to have to be honest with yourself. I mean, this is kind of the foundation for everything that we're talking about, because if you can't be honest with yourself, then everything that I'm telling you can just go out the window. But I felt like I needed to say it because I'm one of, I'm one of you guys. You guys are like me. So I know how I am with myself, and I know how I know what I've heard when I've spoken to you guys, and you just got to be honest with yourself. You can't come into this lying to yourself and expect to go ahead and expect to see progress, or expect to see those goals reached. Because if you're lying to yourself, it's just not going to work. It's like getting into a relationship. If it starts off with lies completely, there's not going to be trust. There are going to be all kinds of problems. Don't do it to yourself. So ask yourself the hard questions. Be honest with yourself. And another pitfall or landmine that I want you to be conscious of is fear. Be extra, what's the word? In tune with what things you're doing or not doing that are influenced by fear. I ran into this weekend. I was sharing with Jessica, Jessica Z. I gotta differentiate. Hey, hey, Jessica Z. So this weekend I was sharing with her, there was some stuff that I wanted to do that were a part of my plan to move things forward. And it literally took me all day to get out of my house because I was afraid to do it. And I started finding all kinds of distractions around the house, things that weren't a waste of time, but they weren't things that needed to be done at that moment. And at like the very last moment, I finally just said, you have to get out and just do this. You've got half an hour left in the day. If you're going to do it today, you've got to just do it. But if you procrastinate anymore, you're not going to get it done today. And what's going to happen is you're going to do what you've been doing. Yeah, I'm brutally honest with myself. I'm mean. But I was like, if you keep, puttering around, you're going to say, okay, I'll do it next week Thursday, or do it next week Saturday. And the same thing is going to happen. Break the cycle now, get your butt out the house, and go do what you need to do. So I, eventually got out and I did it. But while I was even in the process of getting out, it was like walking through jello. I didn't want to do it. And I knew it was the fear. I knew that I had nothing to fear. I knew that the things that I was afraid of might not even happen, might not be a problem. It was stuff that I had situations and and ideas that I just conjured up in my brain that I was afraid of happening, that I had no reason to be afraid of. And eventually when I got out and I did it, even though I was, even in the middle of it, I was, kind of nervous, like, oh, what are people going to think about me? And, oh, what if people see me? And, oh, all this stuff. And I did it, I got it done, I came home, and I was just like, that was a colossal waste of your entire day being afraid to just do this. If you had gotten out and got it done when you wanted to, you wouldn't have had a problem, and you could have had your whole day to actually do other stuff instead of wasting it, just being worried. So you have to, so I just kind of want to put that out there for you guys, to be conscious of those moments of fear. And if you can face it head on and just acknowledge that what's hindering you is the fear, you can usually just tell yourself, what are you afraid of? It doesn't exist. Now, you guys know I am a complete nerd, because I say this probably in every call. But one of the books I was reading was science fiction, but I always managed to find tidbits that relate to my life that I could put in a real life situation. And one of the things that stood out to me in this particular book was something happened, and one of the characters said, the character was faced with an obstacle. The obstacle was imaginary, but it appeared to everyone to be real. And the character said to himself, I know what's supposed to be there. It was like a physical mountain, that it looked like there was a mountain in front of them, but there wasn't. And they got to the mountain and they looked at it and they said, there's not a mountain here. There never has been a mountain here. Mountains don't just shoot up and grow out of nothing like their seeds. There's no mountain here. I'm just going to walk forward because my eyes might be telling me there's a mountain, but my brain knows that there's no mountain here. And the character walked into the mountain and realized, of course, that there was no mountain there. And I was kind of looking at that and I was like, shoot, that mountain is fear. That mountain is fear in our lives every day. We build up this giant mountain out of things in our life that don't exist. Fears and worries and anxiety over stuff that is never going to happen, has never happened, or even if it does happen, it's not the end of the world, and it keeps us from getting to the place that we need to be. It blocks us from our end goal because we're just so focused on the stuff that our eyes are making to be seen in front of us that aren't really there, instead of letting our brain control us and say, you know what, but that's not a real fear. That's not really going to happen. You're not going to explode into a 1,000 pieces if you're prospecting and somebody says no to you. But we put it in our head that that moment of hearing a no is so scary. Or, when we're going out to work our business, we're like, oh, what if we share the opportunity and the person says it's not for them? Then it's not. Moving on, next. But we let our eyes and our emotions trick us into seeing things that aren't there. So be conscious of the fear and be in a place where you can be honest with yourself to talk yourself out of those scary moments. And then lastly, the fourth thing is be conscious of the stuff that's within your control to do. There's some stuff in life, and this is sort of a recurring theme with me, and I tell it to my team all the time, and I'm pretty sure they're tired of hearing it, but sometimes we get so wrapped up in stuff that is completely out of our control, that we can't do anything about, that we can't change, it's just going to be the way it is. And to be honest, this is another thing that I've been struggling with this year in particular, that's been draining my energy. But stuff that is completely out of my control, I just get so wrapped up in it, and it makes us not do the stuff that we need to do because we're so focused on the other thing. But we have to just say, look, what is it within my control and what is outside of my control? The stuff that's outside of my control, I can't change it. My worrying is not going to make it any different. What is it that saying, worrying is not going to add any more hairs to your head? There's no point in being anxious or worried about it. So just put it away and focus on the things that you can do, focus on the things that you can change, the things you can improve, the things that your action can impact, and move forward. We really have to, my boss kind of pokes fun at me because sometimes we'll have an issue in the office where there's something that someone is looking at and like, oh, should we do this? And there's some agonizing and back and forth about it. And then it gets to me and I'm like, will that make us money? Well, that if we don't do that, what happens? Is it better for the client? Is it better for us? Is, you know, who's going to benefit from this? Does anybody benefit? Nobody benefits if we do it that way. Doesn't help anybody if we do it that way. It's not going to help us get it done any faster. Then why are we even thinking about this? This is not a problem. And my boss is always like, you're so cut and dry. Like, sometimes they'll, you know, want to, at work and other things, people will say, you know, Georgia, I just want to run this by you because you're so cut and dry about stuff. You draw that line and you separate what you can change from what you can't. And I'm like, yeah, because you spent 3 days agonizing over this, but whether you do it or not, it doesn't matter. It's just gonna give you extra days and waste your time in doing this thing. It's not gonna benefit you. It's not gonna benefit the client. So don't do it. You know, for me, I'm like, we've got limited time here. So we got to figure out what we want to do. We can't waste time thinking about it. We just have to do it or not do it. If you're going to do it, do it. But don't do it if it's not going to benefit anybody, you know? So we got to have to be that way in our business as well, because this is a business, guys. So for some of you, yes, it is a hobby. And if you enjoy agonizing over stuff that you can't change, this is probably not the chat for you. But even as a hobby, you can spend your hobby time doing stuff that you do enjoy. I don't know anybody who enjoys agonizing over stuff. My family has always called me Miss Nervous because I agonize over things, but I'm trying to get to the point where I'm like, can you change that? No, then move on. Stop talking about it. Stop dwelling on it. Stop living in that place of forward and backward, forward and backward, forward and backward. Or, you know, looking into the neighbor's yard at what they have and what you don't have. Because while you're looking, they're driving, you know? We all know I'm a New York City driver. You always have that person who's just glaring out of their window and you're like, come on, can we go? Move your vehicle. What are you looking at, right? Don't want to be that person who's just sitting in the car like, oh, it's a wonderful day today. The clouds are really nice while the light is green. Because if Georgie's behind you, we're going to have a problem. So don't be that person. So, you know, just be conscious of what's in your control and what you can or cannot take action on. Now, the third thing that I want you guys to think about is that you may not finish first, but it's important that you finished. Now, I know we were talking earlier about, you know, we remember the person who's first, second, and third, the gold, the silver, and the bronze. Those are the people we remember and the people we celebrate. But it is also important that you finish regardless of what place you come in. And then we were talking, the reason I was thinking about this was this Sunday we were talking about just being in a race. You know, when you cross that finish line, there is a celebration for everyone, regardless of what place you've crossed in, because when you enter a race, you enter to complete the race. Yeah, you enter to win, but if you can't win, you still want to complete it, right? Could you imagine, you know, bear with me for a moment. Imagine, I don't even want to talk about baseball anymore, but imagine you have a team who enters a competition and they come in, they see themselves getting into a position to come in second or third. And they just say, oh, well, if I'm not winning, I don't want to play anymore. And they leave. How angry would you be? You would just be like, you're quitting? You're almost at second place, but because it's not first, you're going to give up? What is this? You know, you're going to be upset about it because that's your team. You came here to see them complete their task. If it's not to win, they need to complete. You know, teams don't just walk off the field when they're below. If that was the case, the Mets and the Knicks. Okay, let me stop because I know the team angst is gonna be fired up in here, and I can't hold that conversation. But you know, teams just don't leave and say, oh, you know what, we're down 5 points, Splitsville, we're out of here. They play to the end of the game because they're there to finish the game. Racers, runners, those of you guys who do the Avon 39 walk, just because you're not the first person, when you hear, you know, when you're a couple of miles in and you hear, oh, that first person has crossed the finish line already, you don't say, okay, well, I'm done. I'm not going to win, so I'm just going to leave. You keep going because you're there to complete the race. So I want to encourage you guys. And again, some of you may already be at a point where you you quit? Will you pause? Will you put your dreams on hold? You took hiatus? Will you already started saying, I'm going to wait till 2018 and I'll, start from there? But I want to encourage you to not do that. I want to encourage you in this moment to say, you're going to complete the race, to just take that mindset of quitting and of failure and that other option, that plan B, out of your head. Now, I know we always say that we want to have the plan B because in this business, our hashtag side hustle, this is, for most of us, our plan B. I'm not talking about in that way. I'm talking about having failure and quitting or giving it a second go 10 years down the line or wherever. I'm talking about that as an option. Take that out as an option. Make your only option success now. Make your only option completing, finishing, doing those dreams and goals now. Because even if you don't make it, even if you're not number one, it's important that you at least get as far as you can in this race. You still have a month to get back on the horse. You still have this like a whole month to take action, to do something amazing, to be more than you would be if you didn't do anything. A whole month. Yes, it's full of Christmas and holidays and dinner parties and decorating and all that stuff, and we love that stuff. I'm not knocking it. But is it is are those things stronger than your goal, stronger than your why, stronger than the things that you want to accomplish? That goes back to the question we were asking earlier. You have to be honest with yourself and just say, is it more important that I visit auntie, uncles, nephews, great grand second cousins twice removed event, or more important that I take that time and put towards my dream and goals so that I can get that out of the way now so I can visit all the events and all the activities, in the future down the line. Sometimes we're so caught up in the initial, the right now type of gratification. Yeah, it's great to binge watch TV shows for 4 weeks straight. Yeah, it's great to just kind of hang around in my pajamas, sleep in late, and I love those things. You guys know I game. I love to just waste or blow 4 or 5 hours immersed in a game. And I'm not saying that those things are wrong. You do need the downtime. You do need to um, re-energize and reinvigorate yourself. And I have been working on my schedule personally to put reading back in my schedule because it's something that I used to do and I used to enjoy. And since I had stopped, my vocabulary just was like, ugh. But those things are important. But how are you managing your time? Am I going to blow an entire 4 weeks watching TV, playing video games, just hanging out? Or am I going to say, okay, I could do an hour of this, but I've got to put in 3 hours of like work? Yeah, I do have this party and it's important to me to be with family. So maybe I can put in an extra hour, an extra 15 minutes every day to get this stuff done so that I can do that. You you have to plan overall how you use your time, because if you don't, it's just going to go. Time is and this is probably a whole other topic, but time is the currency of this planet. We all have the same amount of time. We all have, whatever it is that we want to do, we trade in it in our time. If it's something that we don't have the time for, we could pay someone else to do it, but it's traded in that way. It is the commodity that is the most important, because when the time is up, it is up. You cannot extend it. You can't do anything else to get more once your time is up. So you have to be conscious of how you spend it. What are the things that are important to you that you need to get done that will impact your life, your family's life, your community life? What are the things that you have set up as goals that you are serious about getting? And if watching Jerry Springer every day, 24/7, day in, day out, is your goal, again, more power to you. This is not the chat for you. But if that is what you want to do, then go ahead and do it. But you can't do that and then be mad or upset or complaining about not getting the other goals done. You know what I mean? So in this month, you can enact a change to make something happen. You can calendar and schedule the crap out of this month to make it help you get back on the horse. To maybe now you got in the cab, maybe you were back at the hotel, you left the race, you took off your racing gear and the little number that they put on you or whatever. But it's not too late for you to come back and say, you know what, I want to finish this race. I'm going to get back in the game. I am going to start walking and get as close to the finish line as I can before my time runs out. Next, instead of saying that, you'll have that fresh start next year, start now so that when next year starts, you'll be ahead. Instead of saying, I'm going to start from 0 next year, put in some time now. So maybe you could start from 4 or start from 6 so that you're that much closer to your goal. Again, me preaching to the choir here. My mother is probably somewhere in the background like, yes, yes. But you have to say, I can't keep wiping the slate clean and starting from 0 every time. Start from 5 or 6 or 1, whatever. 1 is closer to 10 than 0. I'll take it. Gotta give it something, And then, again, instead of spending 3 months asking yourself what you want to be, ask yourself that question now, this year, in this moment, this December going on November, so that you can start next year being that thing. Because that is another thing that we do. We start the new year like, oh, okay, shoot, it's resolution time. What do I want to do with myself this year? What do I want to accomplish? What do I want to be? What do I want to get done this year? And January goes by and you're like, what is it that I want to set as my goal? What can I work on this year? And then February's going by because you have events and you've got distractions and people are planning stuff and things are happening at your job and things are happening in your family and things are happening in your life. And before you know it, it's March or April and you're like, I need a goal. What was that thing that I wanted to do? You know what? It's November. I kind of blew this year, but next year is a brand new year. I'll start fresh in January, right? Don't waste the 3 to 11 months trying to figure out what it is that you want to do. Take this month, December, if nothing else, and say, okay, what is it? Decide on what your goal. Instead of waiting for January to set your goals and your resolutions, set them now. If your goal is to start eating healthy and lose a certain weight by a certain time and fit into whatever size dress, make it a SMART goal, make it measurable. If your goal is to do that, if your goal is to talk to 5 customers per day and find a new customer each month or whatever recruits each month, instead of waiting for January to say, okay, now I'm going to start it right after New Year's, but Valentine's Day is coming and I want that chocolate, so maybe I'll wait till after Valentine's Day. And you know what? Mother's Day, we do that brunch. I got a plan for that. I'll do it after Mother's Day. And finding yourself in that circle, again, I do this too. So no judgment here at all. But you can make that decision to say, you know what? I'm going to get started on it now. My goal is to fit into that size dress, to get this amount of recruits, to talk to X amount of people, to start investing this amount of time in my business. Whatever it is, start it now. At the very least, you can use this month as your trial period. Put your plans into action. See what needs to be finessed, because that always happens with whatever you're doing. You start and you're like, okay, this is the way it's going to work, but this doesn't really work with my calendar. I've got to change something. Now I can work it. You have that trial period in your life for things. Great. Let that trial period be now, so that when January starts, you're already in the swing of things. You already have your plan. You already have your goal. You've already begun to take the action steps. You've already analyzed the fears that are going to come up, because they're going to come ahead of time, and you've battled with yourself to overcome them, so that when January starts, you are ready to go. You're not waiting to decide on what it is that you want to do to go. You're already on your way there. You might even find at the end of the year, if you do these things and they, when you put them into practice for yourself, you might find at the end of this year, you're able to gain so much ground that you start next year so far ahead of where you had even planned to be. Maybe you missed the mark for this year, but you'll be so much closer to it next year, that instead of starting your plan in January, you might find yourself accomplishing that goal in January. Maybe a little late, but it's fine as long as you finish the race, right? So that's my encouragement to you guys, and that's sort of where I've been living and sort of where I've been spending my last few days. This is what happens when I have time to think, right? So it was just funny to me because I was sort of finding myself in this mindset these last few days, and then the conversation came up on Sunday, came up again today, and I was just like, you know what, this is talking to you, Georgie. You have some stuff that you need to figure out. And I said, why not share it with you guys? Because sharing is caring, right? We all want to suffer together, accomplishing those goals that we want, but we don't really want, but we really want, right? So I hope this topic encourages you guys, gets the juices flowing, and that some of you will be challenged to actually take these action steps to get back in the race and complete it. And even if, again, you've completely fallen off, I just pray that somebody sends you this video before it's too late so you can get yourself together. But don't knock yourself down like, oh, this didn't work for me, it's not going to work. Forget that. Scrap that. Just do it. You know, what is it, Nike? Dorel always says to me, Nike, just do it, right? All right, guys, so that's it for us for tonight. We will be back here next week, Tuesday at 8. The Avon, I haven't seen the dates for the new Avon call, so let me know. Well, I will let you guys know. Let me know. I'll let you guys know when we're having our call, because I know Christmas is going to interrupt us again probably this month. So, like I said, you know, stuff happens. That's okay. But if it's out of our control, we're going to work around it, right? We're plowing forward and we're walking through mountains because we got it like that. We have the power. So, looking forward to seeing you guys next week. Same time, same place here on my page. And yes, Kathleen, you can share this video. I'm going to post it to YouTube after this. So if you have people that you're thinking of who maybe fell off the bandwagon that you kind of want to nudge in love and caring and affection to just get back to their goals, then, you know, you will be able to send this to them and share this with them. And I hope that it will encourage them to get back in the race, because we all want to finish, you know, what we've started. Because why else would we have started it? All right, guys, so have a great evening, and I will be chatting with you again. Oh, I'm loving all the hearts. Thank you. We'll be chatting again next week. Have a great evening. Bye.